Back over to you, and what do you want to have a student?
Okay, I think what we're going to do now is have someone who has a 1AC with them give a 1AC. Lydia, do you have a 1AC?
I don't have, I forgot.
I have your copy of your 1AC.
So Hannah wants to give Peter's 1AC.
Hey, Peter, no, Peter would love to give his 1AC.
Isaiah specifically told me not to let Peter do it, because he's done it the last 2 years. Or something like that. Lydia, do you want to, are you the 1A?
Here, Lydia.
Does anyone else have a 1AC with them? You want to go, Chloe? Okay. Hey, Mr. Lawrence.
Yes.
Would you be willing to cross-examine?
Yeah, I'll try. Oh, Chloe. Oh.
So we'll give you a 3-minute cross-section. I think what we'll do after that is have maybe a pull-out pack where everyone lines up and cross-examines. So.
This is definitely a work in progress, so there should be plenty to cross-examine about. Alright, do I have a timer? Because I'm not really sure.
I can time.
Okay.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Jeff Rubin, CIBC World Market Strategy Econ, said in his article in April 2008, "Whether we are already at the peak in world oil production remains to be seen, but it is increasingly clear that the outlook for oil supply signals a period of unprecedented scarcity. Our latest review of probable supply suggests oil production will hardly grow at all," unquote. It is for these reasons that my partner and I stand firmly resolved that the United States federal government should significantly reform its environmental policy. I want to start out with a quick inherency point, talking about how funding for hydrogen cars has been cut. The New York Times reported in August of 2009, President Obama's Energy Secretary, the Nobel Prize-winning scientist Stephen Chu, recently called for eliminating $100 million in his budget devoted to research on hydrogen technology. He told Congress that hydrogen cars are unlikely to be deployed on a mass market scale within the next 20 years, unquote. So that is why my partner and I present the following plan. First mandate that all cars be converted to hydrogen fuel cell vehicles by 2050. And mandate number 2, mandate 2, this is funding, will allocate money towards that, but the number is not quite finalized yet. Our agency and enforcement will be the United States federal government, and our funding will be through normal means. Now, I want to move down to the justifications for why we should be doing this. My first justification is lack of infrastructure. Point A is lack of infrastructure hinders widespread use of hydrogen fuel cells. CNET CarTech published in May 25th, 2009, paving the way for the so-called hydrogen superhighway. California Fuel Cell Partnership released a roadmap that details plans for 46 retail hydrogen fueling stations in 6 targeted California communities by 2014. Hydrogen is considered to be the holy grail of clean transportation because fuel cell vehicles emit only water when driven. But a lack of infrastructure is one of the major roadblocks to this advancement. Point B is lack of widespread use hinders creation of infrastructure. Greg Blenko from Hydrogen Discoveries said in January 27, 2009, with hydrogen cars making tremendous advancements, the focus has now turned to getting the hydrogen fueling infrastructure built. The truth is that the car companies are very frustrated that neither the oil companies nor the federal government has stepped up to build the hydrogen fueling infrastructure. Jerry Garrett from the New York Times said in September 2008, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles are ready to go, said Bill Reinhart, Toyota's national manager for advancing technology, but there's no place to fuel them. So point C is we have this chicken and egg problem. No one wants to build the fueling stations and the infrastructure, but because there are no cars. But since there is no infrastructure, no one wants to build the cars. So what we want to do is we want to enact this plan that will mandate that all cars be transitioned to hydrogen fuel cells. That way the people who build infrastructure will know for certain that there will be cars. And our justification number 2 is that hydrogen fuel cells are getting ready to go full scale. Point A, hydrogen cars will be competitive by 2015. Jack Ewing, a Frankfurt Bureau chief from Business Week, said in September 22nd, 2009, Germany is expected to cover half of the 2.6 billion cost of creating a hydrogen fueling network, and the cost of generating an hour of electricity with a hydrogen fuel cell has recently dropped more than 20% to $78. A drop to $30 is possible by 2015, which would make hydrogen cars competitive with gasoline. Point B is that the United States has the resources. The National Hydrogen Association said in 2009, all hydrogen needed to fuel hydrogen-powered vehicles can be produced from domestic energy sources. This has the effect of mitigating the impact of energy price fluctuations or macroeconomic risks that flow from our heavy dependence on imported oil and leaves us less dependent on energy from regions that are beset with political risk. It also allows the United States to choose the resources that make the most economic and environmental sense. And the justification number 3 is that hydrogen cuts pollution dramatically. Point A, in all scenarios, there was a net gain. Mark Jacobson, Associate Professor of Civil and Environmental Engineering, PhD in Atmospheric Science, said in 2005 that for a range of reasonably HVCF efficiency and methods of producing hydrogen, it was found the replacement of fuel-run vehicles with hydrogen-run vehicles significantly reduced air pollution-related emissions compared even with a switch to hybrids. All hydrogen-run vehicle scenarios decreased net air pollution emissions, including nitrogen oxides, volatile organic compounds, and particulate matter, ammonia, and carbon monoxide. These reductions are achieved with hydrogen production from either a fossil fuel source, such as natural gas, or a renewable source, such as wind, unquote. Point B, even if refined with fossil fuel, hydrogen still dramatically reduces pollution. From the same source, he discussed that the study found that converting all U.S. on-road vehicles to hydrogen fuel cell vehicles may improve air quality, health, and climate significantly, whether the hydrogen is produced by steam reforming or natural gas, wind, or coal gasification. Most benefits would result from eliminating current vehicle exhaust. Wind and natural gas hydrogen fuel vehicles offer the greatest potential health benefits and can save 3,700 to 6,400 U.S. lives annually, unquote. And point C is there is no runoff. Charles Q. Choi, Special to Life Science, said in December of 2008 that hydrogen fuel cells react hydrogen with oxygen to generate an electric current that in turn can drive an electric motor. The only tailpipe emission would indeed be water. The National Hydrogen Association said in 2009 that hydrogen, along with several technologies and fuels, plays an important role in the evolution of America's passenger vehicle transportation system away from petroleum. More action, investment, and commitment is needed today, publicly and privately, to transition these technologies into tomorrow. So I strongly urge you to vote affirmative for the transition from fossil fuel to hydrogen cars. Thank you. I'm now Senator Crossing.
Hi, Chloe.
Hi.
So how much time do you usually get for cross-examination?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. So somebody time me, I'll just see how this goes. Okay, now I know and I've researched this, so I'm just some things off the top of my head. Okay, so you want the government, I understand your plan, right? You want the government to help build the infrastructure because we have a lack of infrastructure.
No, the government is not going to help build the infrastructure. The government is simply going to mandate that cars be switched from fuel cell cars to hydrogen cars.
Okay, well, there was a time in this country when we had no cars, right?
Yes.
And everything was horses and no cars.
Yes.
And then Henry Ford or somebody developed a Model T.
Yes.
And there were no gas stations.